Hello, my name is Dr. Lane Schreiber. I am a physician and an electrical engineer. This is the third video in a series. The first video was titled Take the Fight to COVID-19. The second video was titled Molecular Virus Killers. This video, we're going to have some fun. We have invited the computer programmers in the world to be a part of this fight against COVID-19. And I think that there should be a reason for them to join into the fight. And I would like to explain the underlying programming of the DNA, the RNA, and viral genomes. In this particular video, we are going to explore the fact that there can be a conversion of what science has created, which is a letter system for the genetic code. And we are going to look at the possibility of converting that letter code to a number code. So the software of the world at this point is based off of ones and zeros, which is referred to as digital or binary code. The DNA is comprised of 4 different elements. These elements are called nucleotides. The 4 elements of the DNA are A, C, G, and T, which stand for adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. RNA, on the other hand, is also comprised of 4 nucleotides. These 4 nucleotides are A, C, G, and U, which stand for adenine, cytosine, guanine, and uracil. So RNA has uracil as a nucleotide. DNA has thymine as a nucleotide. The idea of this video is to see, can we generate some sort of a process that would be able to convert our letter system, which was developed in the very early 1900s, to a numbering system, because a numbering system would allow us to do much more. It would allow us to interpret the DNA with regards to potential a numbering scheme, which would identify genes. It would also allow us to look for mathematical functions that might be in the DNA. Very similar to what we do as far as the analysis of a program when we're looking at ones and zeros. So to determine this, one has to have the concept that maybe there was a higher order that was responsible for the design of our DNA. Obviously, this is a step away from the classic evolution theory, but at the same time, the complexity of the DNA, the complexity of cells, the amount of effort that it takes to be able to decode the DNA, replicate a cell, invites a thought that there was some form of a design that was used in order to institute what we find ourselves learning, and that is that we have cells. These cells combine together to produce the human body. In this particular case, we're becoming very clear that when a small program, such as COVID-19, which is comprised of 29,900 nucleotides, is capable of attacking our cells and turning our cells into factories which create more COVID-19, and then in the process potentially cause us to die, certainly get very sick for many, many, many of us. Having said that, if there was some form of a design to our DNA, the designers may have left us with some secrets that we could investigate in order to follow in their footsteps to be able to decode and analyze the programming of our DNA. So with that thought process, first, we need to understand how the DNA works. The DNA is made up of, again, 4 different nucleotides. These nucleotides are strung together. There are 3 billion nucleotides strung together to create the 46 different chromosomes that is our genetic code for the human species. Amongst this, the DNA then is decoded. It produces RNA, which again, we had mentioned that RNA is comprised of 4 different nucleotides. Again, A, C, G, and U. And then these 4 different nucleotides are a base 4 programming code, but then embedded within that is a base 3 programming code, because for every 3 of the nucleotides that are in an RNA strand that is used to create proteins, each of the 3 is a code for a particular amino acid. There are approximately 20 amino acids, which the human body uses in order to generate and build proteins. The 3-letter code that is available is comprised of 64 differing 3-digit codes. And to that, for the most part, that idea of 64 has been skipped over. But to somebody with a spatial analysis, such as an engineer, one immediately thinks of 64 as a cube. That is a structure made up of 4 by 4 by 4 in depth, which is, I've crudely written here, 2 different cubes. So if it is potentially a cube, if there are 64 different elements that comprise the code, which code for the different 20 amino acids, we can put those cubes together with one panel being the first letter being an A, second panel being a G, third panel being a C, fourth panel being a T. Now, the reason I have two cubes up here for the codes is that one is looked at in just purely the 3 amino acids, or the 3 nucleotides that create or code for the amino acids. The second cube is for the amino acids themselves. Now, why would you do that? Well, interestingly enough, what Mother Nature gave us is one amino acid represents a start code in the genetics of our DNA and our RNAs. The other is that there are 3 stop codes that are used by the DNA in order to route when you start or when you stop reading the DNA. Having said that, then, interestingly enough, if 1 is start, we would use the start as potentially the top panel of this cube. And if there are 3 stop codes, we would use those 3 as the bottom panel of the cube. Having said that, therefore then, because of the way things are coded out, there is a code for AAA, a code for CCC, a code for GGG, and a code for TTT. Now, if you take those and you put the panels together, it turns out that AAA is here. In this particular case, GGG is here, CCC is here, and TTT is here, providing a diagonal line that goes through the cube, which tells you that A would be the first panel, G would be the second panel, C would be the third panel, and T would be the fourth panel. Again, Mother Nature put a single start code in the A panel and 3 stop codes in the T panel. So therefore then, what this is all suggesting is that A is equal to 0, G is equal to 1, C is equal to 2, and T is equal to 3. Mother Nature, with her 64 codings of the amino acids, is probably giving us the means of being able to convert any sort of lettering that we would have provided, any sort of names that we would have provided each of the individual nucleotides into a single structured numerical value for each of the nucleotides. And with that, this is a program, and given that it's a program and that COVID-19 is a malicious base 4 program, we can use the same skills that we use to defend our computers against malicious computer viruses, in this particular case, defend the human body against a malicious biologic virus. And with that, please go to taskforcecovid19.com for further information. Thank you very much. Be careful, my friends.